Catfish is a global commodity. It is extremely important for the regional economy, and one of the major issues that the catfish industry deals with is parasites and disease. And one of the primary parasites we're fighting is actually transmitted by a snail that's in the pond. Bolbophorus, even in light infections, can reduce the productivity of a pond and reduce profits by up to 20%. As you move into moderate and severe infections, you're looking at 40 to 60% reductions in profit. The catfish industry functions on pretty slim margins as it is. A catfish being sold may only profit the farmer 15 to 20 cents a pound. So if this disease continues and it's not mitigated, this could be a collapse of the catfish industry itself. These snails can cause a lot of problems in novel systems where you wouldn't expect them to be. The snails do burrow into the mud to overwinter, so even if you rework a pond during the winter months, when the water comes in and the water starts to warm up, they'll crawl back out of the mud and you already have snails in the system. They can also be transported to new ponds on farm equipment, seines, tractors, paddle wheels, whatever the case may be. And then they can also latch on to the feed of birds if you have wading birds coming from other ponds, hiding in the feathers of those birds. So there are a lot of different ways that these snails can be moved from pond to pond and farm to farm. Copper sulfate is one of the leading chemicals that we use in the catfish industry, and it's used for a wide variety of things, whether that's algae control or pest management. And one of the primary uses is to control snails in catfish ponds. Problem is, when we use copper sulfate in warmer temperatures, so think of it, midsummer, that copper is also toxic to the catfish. And so our goal is to find some lower dose applications or new management techniques that we can use that's a safer alternative for the catfish and still getting the same result of treating the snails themselves. The results of this study so far are that the lower dose copper sulfate treatments, particularly those that are about the same levels as what we use for algal control on a regular basis, if we span those out over the course of 4 weeks rather than one high dose, we do achieve similar mortality rates in the snails. And even those snails that don't actually die, we're able to reduce their reproduction and growth. So we're stagnating the populations and reducing that potential parasite vector, even without true mortality. We've conducted some of the first macroinvertebrate community analyses in these catfish ponds, something that's never really been done in the past. The catfish ponds are typically thought of as a very simple system. Most people only think of the catfish that are in there, but these systems are extremely complex. You have everything from phytoplankton, zooplankton, bugs, fish, birds are around the ponds, other scavengers. So having a better understanding of what's in the system year-round gives us a much better idea of how that pond functions and how managing that pond may contribute to other factors.